Today we'll be working in my workbook called Preparing to Leave Mount Sinai. Now, this is the second part of this book because chapters 1 through 9 of the book of Numbers is all preparing to leave Mount Sinai and on to their trek towards the Promised Land. And in the table of contents so far, we've handled a couple more laws and that God gave the people, a law for jealousy, the vow of the Nazarites. This is where it comes from. And then since Moses is writing this and he all of a sudden backs up, I kind of wanted to give you a reconstruction of the whole timeline so that since numbers 6 through 9 are out of order. They're in the first month, not the second month. And I know that's small time frame, but still it's out of order. So we did the priestly blessing, and that is one that we've all heard. The Lord bless you and keep you and shine his face upon you. And this is, again, where that comes from. Now we're going to do chapter 5. Offerings for the service of the tabernacle, numbers 7, 1 through 9. Now remember, the tabernacle has just been built.
When Moses finished setting up the tabernacle, he anointed and consecrated it and all its furnishings. He also anointed and consecrated the altar and all its utensils.
Numbers 7:1 brings us back into Exodus and Leviticus, when the tabernacle and the tent of meeting were consecrated along with the priests. We know this because it's talked about in Leviticus 8, 10 through 13. Then Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and everything in it, and so consecrated them. He sprinkled some of the oil on the altar 7 times, anointing the altar and all its utensils and the basin with its stand to consecrate them. He poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head, anointed him to consecrate him. Then he brought Aaron's sons forward, put tunics on them, tied sashes around them, and fastened caps on them as the Lord commanded Moses. Also note, Numbers 7:1 is a summary. After the anointing and consecrating of the tabernacle, the events in 2 through 9 will happen. And then after the consecration of the brazen altar, verses 10 through 88 will happen. So basically, number 1 here, first is a summary, and then we go into detail. What did Moses do to the tabernacle?
Anointed and consecrated it and its furnishings.
Moses took the specialized anointing oil and applied it to the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, the table, the lampstand, the altar of incense, and all their associated utensils. By applying this oil, Moses officially set apart the tabernacle and its items for divine service. Which altar is consecrated specifically in the second half of the verse, the altar of incense or the brazen altar?
Brazen altar.
Looking at the timeline on pages 35 to 38, why do scholars know this happened in the first month rather than the second month of the second year?
Well, Exodus 40 says first day of the first month.
Right. Yeah. So we know that it happened in the first month, not in the second.
Then the leaders of Israel, the heads of families, who were the tribal leaders in charge of those who were counted, made offerings. They brought as their gift before the Lord 6 covered carts and 12 oxen, an oxen from each leader and a cart from every 2. These they presented before the tabernacle.
We have a list of these leaders in Numbers 1 below, and we'll see them later. How many leaders are there?
Okay. Oh, 12.
Right. In verse 2, we have what one of their tasks were. What was it?
In charge of those who counted, made offering.
Right. How many carts were given?
6.
How many oxen?
12.
Now, regarding timing, since the tabernacle was dedicated in the first month of the second year, then this offering would have been made at that time. This is possible since the tabernacle was built and the Israelites knew they were not at their destination yet. So it'd be obvious that it would need transport vehicles. And so we don't need to read Numbers 1 through 4 through 16. It just names all the leaders.
The Lord said to Moses, accept these from them, that they may be used in the work at the tent of meeting. Give them to the Levites as each man's work requires. So Moses took the carts and oxen and gave them to the Levites.
Who told Moses to accept these gifts?
The Lord.
Who were the 6 carts and the 12 oxen to be given to?
Levites.
What were the carts and oxen to be used for?
Worked on the tent of meeting.
Did the Lord specifically state how the carts and oxen were to be divided up?
No.
Up to this point, all this could have been done in the first month of the second year or during the time of the dedication. In fact, it seems that Moses waited for the Lord to tell him what to do with this donation, and as no division of the carts and oxen were defined, all he knew was to give them to the Levites for now. In order for the balance of this chapter to make sense, there would be a time lapse between verse 6 and 7. This time lapse would have been where the events of the first part of the book of Numbers, or the formation of the camps and the responsibility of the Levites, were defined. Then Moses would know how to split up the carts and oxen. So if you remember, this part they dedicated right when the tabernacle was finished. But and we get to next verse, I don't remember what it says, but up to this point, this could have happened before the responsibilities and duties of the priests that we had read about in the first book, right? So but then in chapter 4, then here.
He gave 2 carts and 4 oxen to the Gershonites as they work required, and he gave 4 carts and 8 oxen to the Merarites as their work required. They were all under the direction of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the priest. But Moses did not give any to the Kohanites, tongue-tied there, because they were to carry on their shoulders the holy things for which they were responsible.
How many carts and oxen were given to the Gershonites?
2 carts and 4 oxen.
What are the Gershonites responsible for carrying?
The curtains of the tabernacle.
Right. How many carts and oxen were given to the Merarites?
4 carts and 8 oxen.
And what are they responsible for carrying?
Curtains and coverings.
And how many carts and oxen did the Kohathites get?
None.
Yeah, but all this is discovered after the duties and responsibilities that Lord gives them. So this part has to be after chapter 2 or 3 or whatever it is, chapter 4. So it's just kind of a mismatch what he did here. But anyway, that's the end of this chapter. And okay, so which Levite tribe did not get any carts or oxen?
Kohathites.
Yeah, Kohathites. 7, Moses gives 2 carts and 4 oxen to whom?
Gershonites.
And 9, Moses gave 4 carts and 8 oxen to whom?
Merarites.
And 10, the altar talked about in verse 7:11 is not the altar of incense, but the
brazen
altar. 1 down. Moses also anointed and consecrated the
altar.
And 3, the leaders brought 6 carts and 12
oxen.
4, when Moses finished setting up the
tabernacle,
he anointed and consecrated it. How many leaders of the tribes were there?
12.
Which priest was in charge of the Gershonites and the Merarites?
Ithamar.
The carts and oxen were given to the
Levites.
Yeah. So that was a short chapter 2, but
yeah,
we have a long one coming. So